Welcome to NABOR's Allied and Affiliate Spotlight Show, the show that gives you tips and strategies, tools and resources to help you save time and money, streamline your daily tasks, grow your business, and help you become a more successful and advance your career. My name is McCloskey, and I'm the president of NABOR and your host. In today's episode, you will hear from Don Thomson of Henderson, Franklin, as well as George Powell from Akerman. We will have a wonderful conversation with these two gentlemen. So, George, I'm going to kick it over to you. Tell us a little bit about what you do and your services you provide to the NABOR member.
Sure. And again, thank you for inviting me on your program for today. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to your members. And speaking of members, before we started, I explained to you that back up in New Jersey for 25 years, Mrs. Powell and I had our own real estate agency, and we were both realtors and brokers up there serving in ultimately 3 different boards of realtors. And we did a lot of residential work. We also did a lot of commercial work, and we did some development, both residential and commercial. But I don't do that now. Now I'm a real estate attorney, and we're here in Naples with Akerman. Akerman is a firm that's 100 years old. Although it's been 100 years old, last year, we've been in Naples 10 years. And we opened up the office primarily for real estate and trusted estate work. I'm in the real estate side of that house. Akerman as a firm has 700 attorneys, the largest group of which is litigation, and the second largest is real estate. And we do everything from land use development to transactions to multifamily to shopping centers. We did Brickell City over in Miami. So we're extensive in land use and development, as well as transaction work. With me here in Naples is Beverly Sutton. Many of you know her as Beverly Kreppel, who had her own title agency here in Naples for a number of years. She's my paralegal and is very heavily involved in our transaction practice. In addition to doing the transactions, I also get involved in a lot of eminent domain work and have done that for over 30 years. Both as an MAI real estate appraiser and as an attorney, and still do that now with a national practice that extends literally from the East Coast to the West Coast. So we're heavily involved in real estate here in Naples, and we're heavily involved with our firm. And one of the advantages we have is, to use an old cliche, we have a very deep bench in real estate. And there's a lot of issues that if we don't have local expertise in, we have it in the firm.
Wonderful. Thank you, George. I'm actually going to kick it over to Don. And Don with Henderson Franklin, give us a little bit of introduction about yourself and your company.
Okay, my name, of course, is Don Thomson, and I've been practicing law here in Southwest Florida now since 1984. And actually, I've lived down here now for about 55 years. So I've been here a long time, grew up here, went to school in Naples, and then some in Fort Myers. And love it down here, needless to say. My wife and I have been, and our 4 children have been residents of Bonita Springs now for the last 50 years. So we think it's great down here. I am with Henderson Franklin, and we're almost as old as George's firm, Akerman. We actually were formed in Southwest Florida back in 1924. So we will be celebrating our 100th year anniversary in 3 years. And we're really looking forward to that. Henderson Franklin is probably one of the, or maybe the largest local size firms between Tampa and the Miami area. We have offices in Fort Myers, Bonita Springs, and in Naples. And then we have a small virtual office up in the Sarasota area. We have 62 attorneys, and we're all kind of spread out between Fort Myers, Bonita Springs, and Naples. We do, I think what makes us a little bit unique is we cover a lot of different areas of law. We have 21 practice areas that our different lawyers work in, which does include real estate, of course. And we do real estate from start to finish. We have a land use department. We do residential real estate, closings, commercial real estate. We handle title issues, in fact, do some title defense type work, even where there's a title issue that needs to be solved by an attorney as opposed to the title agent. And we, of course, are title agents. I think what makes us a little bit more unique than some other firms is the different areas we also practice in. We again handle real estate, but we have an estate planning division, a family law division, a group that handles patent and trademark work. We do employment law. We practice in the healthcare issue, and then all aspects of corporate and tax law. So in addition to be able to provide real estate services to the realtor members and or their friends or referral sources, we also can handle other things. So I think that gives us or allows us to be able to help in different ways. And I think that's about it for the.
Wonderful. Thank you, Don. So George, I'm going to ask you a little off the wall question. So given what's going on right now, what's the number one question you get asked these days?
When are more properties going to come back on the market so I can buy something?
Oh, so you have the crystal ball that we're all looking for, I guess, then, huh?
That's right. And I'll take appointments only to discuss that at a very reasonable fee. It's just amazing what's going on here. And since I have kind of an expanded practice, I'm talking to people in other states all the time. And even though I thought that half of New Jersey was coming down to Naples itself, not necessarily anywhere else in Florida, but Naples, I find that the market up there is just as hot up there as it is down here. Because people are leaving New York, they're going to New Jersey because it's hard to believe, but it's cheaper. And they can still be close to New York City and get into the office and get into Manhattan. So there's right now across the country, it's just bizarre what's going on. And certainly the pressure here is incredible. Absolutely.
Thank you. So Don, I'm going to ask you the same question, and I wonder if your answer is the same, but what's the number one question you get asked these days?
We definitely do get asked that question, no doubt about it. And I'm not sure the answer myself. I guess we'll all have to wait to see what happens. One question that we get because of the different areas that we practice in is, I've got a friend or I've got a client that needs a certain type of work done. Do you have somebody that can handle it? And I get that one a lot. And I think the reason is because most of our referral sources and other clients and the like realize the breadth of our practice areas and what we do. So if it's unfortunately maybe a divorce issue or a business issue or an employment issue, it's folks ask me, do you have somebody that can help us out with that particular issue we have?
Absolutely. I can understand that. So, Don, I'm actually going to ask you this one first. So thinking about, obviously, we wouldn't say any names, but do you have any memorable stories of ways that you've been able to help people in your practice?
I can't think of a specific incident, but it's always been my intent to, when I'm handling a matter for any client, they're going to get my time during the time that I'm spending with them and my uninterrupted attention. And that's what I always try to do, is to make sure that, when they're dealing with me, they're going to get the time I'm putting into it and my attention. And, when they call, they're going to get a call back immediately. It'll be, if it may not be me, but it'll be somebody in the office. There's going to be no waiting. I think that would be what I would point out.
Wonderful. Thank you. And George, I'm going to ask you kind of the same question. So do you have any memorable stories or ways that you've helped people that you would like to share with our members here today?
Sure. And it's kind of narrowly focused, but it it grew from an organization I became involved in because I believed in it so strongly. But I'm a veteran and I support some veterans groups. And one of the ones I support is a medical service dog training facility in Central Florida. And I get referrals from them for veterans who have been denied public accommodations because of their medical service dog. And I've gotten involved in that, and that has led me into some litigation and some issues that came out to be very satisfying personally for me as to what the result was. But then I got involved in not just medical service dogs, but emotional support animals, and have been able to help some realtors who use us or work through us to have a proper application made to the condominium owners association or the homeowners association that have certain animal restrictions, and I'll call it what it is, a pet restriction, where they're essentially denying or attempting to deny emotional support animals or medical service dogs. And I've gotten involved in that, and I've helped a number of people get through a deal to go to closing where they were initially denied their emotional support animal, but we were able to deal with it under the Florida state law and the federal law to get the approvals that were needed and actually essentially required under the law. So that's been very satisfying. It's not a big deal, but it is a big deal, and it's nice to be part of it.
Awesome. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Okay, so I want to ask you just a couple other quick things, and then we'll wrap up for today. So, George, what do you like most about being a member of the Naples Area Board of Realtors?
Well, as I said, I've been a realtor for 25 years, so it's nice to be back. I've served on grievance committees in the boards I was with up in New Jersey, and it's a very good process. And it's just, I guess, the professionalism that I find in realtors, the code of ethics that you have. I, for one, do a presentation every year at the Environmental Summer School that they have down in Marco Island, about 800 people there, and it's for engineer ethics. It's not realtor ethics, but it's engineer ethics. But having been in the Appraisal Institute and been in our ethics committee nationally, and having worked on the local boards in realtors, I see a big separation, and I guess I have a prejudice towards realtors because of the peer review they have, the grievance process, and the code of ethics that you're expected to follow to be fair and above board in your practice. And I like that, and I support that, and I think it's a very valuable instrument for the community to have the realtors who have these obligations, and I like it.
Good. Thank you. And Don, same question to you. What do you like most about being a member of the Naples Area Board of Realtors?
I would have to say probably foremost is the professionalism of the folks that are members, including regular members and affiliate members. Great folks to work with, whether it's working with a realtor or a realtor's customer, or working with the attorneys on the other side. It's just something you can always rely that there'll be professionalism, you'll be treated with respect and integrity. I also really enjoy some of the classes that NABOR does. And some of them are put on by other attorneys, and they're really attended for the members who are realtors, but I attend some of those. You know, I like going to the ones where they compare the contracts or discuss the new provisions in real estate contracts. Although I read them and I generally know the changes, it's good to hear somebody else's perspective and see where they're coming from and what they think a change in the contract means. You all put on some really great programs and events, and we appreciate it.
Well, thank you. That's very nice of you. So one last question, Don, living here 55 years, what's the biggest change you've seen? I'm 42 years here, so you got me beat. So, so tell me about the biggest change you've seen here in Southwest Florida.
The great part about Southwest Florida is the evolution of change has been handled very well. I think the governments, or the different government agencies, whether they be counties or cities, and we work in both Collier Lee and a little bit further north too, real professionals. They make sure they're handling things in the way I think the people want, in a way that makes development and growth something that we can all enjoy and live with, and we aren't going to see, giant buildings from one end of the coast to the other. But looking at it from a standpoint of what's the major changes, I would have to say the major physical change, and I'll use two of them. One was I-75, because I was here when the only road through Bonita Springs was a 2-lane, old 41.
Mm-hmm.
Then I think probably the Southwest Regional Jetport. That was a major change, and that allowed for major good changes to happen throughout the Southwest Florida area.
Absolutely. And George, I learned earlier in this, before we started chatting, that you love to golf. So what's your favorite golf course here in Southwest Florida?
Oh, that's really tough because they're all so good. I don't want to get anybody upset. It's very difficult to be political in this, but I do like Tiburon, I will say that.
Okay. It was more of a fun question than anything else. So
No, you cannot, we just talked earlier before we went live, there's no sense going on a golf trip because you've got 99 to 100 of the best golf courses in the state of Florida right here. So it's more of a discussion at happy hour to decide which one you're going to go to next in a 20-minute drive. So
good problems to have, right? Absolutely. Well, I want to give y'all some final words today. So Don, I'll ask you, is there anything that you would like to leave our members with as we close today?
Only that I would just be restating a little bit, and that is we've got offices to serve folks down here in Naples, Bonita Springs, and Fort Myers. We're a full service law firm. And what makes us more unique, I think, down here is that we are so multifaceted in the work that we do. We handle most things that someone could use assistance with. And we're always happy to take on new clients.
Wonderful. Thank you. George, over to you. Any last minute words before we close out today?
Sure. I just want to say that although we're small here in Naples, we're very focused and we work across our platform. We have over 150 attorneys in Miami. And as you can probably imagine, a substantial portion of that group is devoted to Latin American activities where we're very active, including at the brief window when Cuba was going to reopen. We were early on in exploring entrepreneurial activities potential in Cuba, but we have a large Spanish and Portuguese speaking attorney population throughout several of our offices. Most of them are in Miami, but also in Fort Lauderdale and some in Palm Beach. So there are areas that may be not of broad interest necessarily, but of some interest that we can provide those services to and open some doors maybe that might not have been thought of before in our neighboring countries. So that's one aspect we can help you with, and we can do that right here out of Naples.
Great. Well, George Powell with Akerman and Don Thomson with Henderson Franklin, thank you so much for your time today. I hope you've enjoyed educating our NABOR members on both of your companies, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you, Corey.
Thank you, Corey.
Nice to meet you, George.
Take
Nice
care.
meeting you. Take care.
Bye-bye.